I forgot where I was. Oh yeah, I was talking about how we need to understand that that it's not all the weirdness that is breaking America, you know? Everybody brings a little bit of weird to America, you know? There are these people who came here and said that they were looking for a place where they could worship God the way that they wanted, because their parents wouldn't let them worship God the way that they wanted. And so after they came here, we thought that they would let everybody worship the way that they wanted, because they would remember how they didn't like it when their parents told them that they had to worship the way that they worshipped, right? That's why they invented Levi's and Jeeps. And that part was cool. And then they looked on the horizon, and other people were also coming, whose parents had said that they had to worship God the way that they preferred. And that they heard that there was this colony, that if you could sail to it, if you could claw your way into it, that they would let you be whoever you wanted to be, you know? And that's why we come with all our weirdness, you know? The stinking fish and the funny spices, you know? And every once in a while, you guys, you like some of it, right? Because you know, you like the Indian food. That's also us, right? And the Jamaican food, that's us, right? You like millet, right? That's also us, right? And fonio, that's also us. We are your treasure, man. We are your treasure, you know? We are God's gift to you. Because you are God's gift to us, right? If you believe in that sort of thing, that maybe he was saying that, what if there was a place? What if there was a place where all the misfits could go and leave each other alone to be who they preferred to be, you know? And what if they didn't become afraid? That there was no longer room, right? Materially, but spiritually, for the expansion of that spirit, right? Of that drive. Because there is a drive, right? There's a drive that propels a certain kind of character to seek America, right? It's the thing that makes a boy pick an acetylene torch and weld something, you know? It's the same force. It's the same force. And the hope was that America would always preserve this capacity to absorb the world's seekers, right? The seekers of freedom and self-rule and self-determination in a land that is boundless and beautiful. Guys, in 1776, right? A bunch of white dudes thought that there wasn't enough America. Pause and think about it, you know? There's something there, man. There's something there, and it's not us. This was in 1776, man. There wasn't enough land? There wasn't enough resources in America in 1776? Come on, man. So you scale up to 2025 and you tell us that there's not enough to go around, that the schools have failed and the hospitals have failed and the roads are crowded and people can't find jobs, And yet there comes all these seekers, all these people who are looking for a place to be themselves. And America says, we're sorry, man. We got the trend going, but we can't keep it up. Maybe you should start being what your parents want you to be, Maybe you should just stay at home. Maybe you should just stay at home. But America, this was supposed to be the place the kids came out to play, where they let the kids play. The grown-up kids too, I came to America because they said that, in America you could have 2 motorcycles. Hell, you could have 3. If you wanted, you could have 2 more. And it blew my mind. And I came to America and I did. They did. They let me have 2 motorcycles. Really, it's true. And that part is beautiful. But I can also see on the horizon that very soon, people will not be able to afford that dream anymore, right? Because we would have given them proof that our gates are closed, right? Except the thing to see, right? The thing to see is that this thing, America's place in the world, is not just material, it's spiritual, right? America is the place we must pass through in order to become mature, right? Every kid grows up and becomes 17, and you want to go out and date girls and drive cars and do cool stuff. And they won't let you because they say you need to sit and study and pay attention and not get girls in trouble. And not get girls in trouble. Except there's a girl you want to get in trouble with, right? There's a girl you want to get in trouble with so bad, it makes you weak. And so you and her, right? You say, let's go to America. And she says, yeah, babe, let's go to America. Because there we can be who you want to be, which is to be loved, right? To be loved. To be loved. And she says, babe, how do we get there? And you say, there's a line, right? That becomes an Ouroboros, right? Around the equator, if you line the people up, it'll eat its tail, right? Of people that are waiting in line for us to be loved, for us to be free. And so you look in her eyes, right? And you want this girl so bad, right? You want communion with her so bad that you say, you know what, babe? I'm not going to wait in line. I'm going to swim the ocean so that we can be in love. And so you come into Guatemala, you come from El Salvador, you come from the Congo, and you come from Ghana, and you come from Nigeria, and you come from Sierra Leone, and you come from India, and you come from Pakistan, and you come from Afghanistan, and you come from Russia, you come from China, you come from Suriname. Sometimes you still come from America, right? Into America. And you try to get in. You try to get in. You claw your way to the gate. You try to get in and you say, hey guys, we heard about you. That if we got here, that we could be free. That we could be free. And then, like Doc Holliday, right? They cough and go, that's the rumor, right? I understand, right? I understand. I understand. A little bit. I understand what it feels like to run out of love. To run out of love, right? To run out of love. To not be able to care anymore, right? Because the limits of your compassion have been stretched to their limit, right? Maybe this is also what is happening to America, right? The limits of our compassion have stretched beyond her capacity, right? And maybe we should give her some time to recover, you know? Because she's like that prized possession, right? She's like the gymnast with so much talent, right? That you want to cultivate her just at the very edge of their capacity, right? To absorb training and withstand the forces and the dynamics, right? On themselves through the process. What I'm saying is that if America wants to take a break from loving and giving hope to so many people in the world, right? I'm telling you, man, you know? Everywhere in the world, right? And I think that this thing is spiritual, you know? It's spiritual because the thing that is happening, right? Because the thing that is happening is that you do come to America and they do let you buy 2 motorcycles. And then if you're really paying attention, right? You discover that it wasn't America you were seeking, you know? It's the same thing that happens when this young couple comes to America and they're allowed to be free and they have the first child and the bills begin to pile and it drags you down. And then some days, right? This man sits in the corner with a beer and he says to himself, I can't believe this is what we came here to be for. And this girl, right? Who looked like this extraordinary treasure. that you just couldn't let go. She says to herself, would it have been really that bad if we had stayed at home and I had married somebody else? But by then it's too late, right? Because by then they're leaving the skulls and the skeletons in front of your car and your motorcycles. And you discover that America is sick. America is sick. It's not a fever yet, but America is sick. But she's the place where people always go forth, right? To find new ways of being. And so out from her will emerge a people who create new space, sacred space for being. Now that spiritual torch, right? It could be passed to another civilization, right? Another place. But what if this one could be cured? What if ours is one of the ones that could pass through the eye of the helix, right? And get to the other side. The reason we need to go to the protests and tell Israel that it cannot destroy Gaza. The reason we shouldn't let them kill Luigi Mangione, right? The reason is that the world may preserve a sacred space for the spirit of enterprise, right? Because this is just like 1776, my friends. There's enough resources, right? That's why Mamdani won. And people know it. People know there's enough resources. I hope I said it right? Mamdani. It was extraordinary to watch, right? Extraordinary to watch. It's as if you were watching, you know how you watch those videos of, I think it's slag getting poured, right? And this thing is so hot, right? That as it's emerging, everything that is on the outside just burns off it and it maintains itself, right? That is how Mamdani felt to me. All the gasoline was getting poured on him and all the fuel was getting poured on him. But there was so much purity at his core, right? That he just continued to glow hot, right? And he's going to burn through everything that touches him. Because at his very heart, at his very core, right? At his very core, it's America. He's as American as apple pie. And I understand, man, you know? Maybe some guy moved into your neighborhood and after he moved in, Like 6 other people moved in with him, you know? And there are all these guys who walk around, man. And you've got daughters, so you're concerned, right? And there's this little house, and how many people are going to live there? But that used to be America, you know? You should have seen the Pilgrims, man, you know? They crammed as many people as they could into as warm a space as could be had, right? It looked like that house down the street, right? With all the West Africans and all the Mexicans and all the Indians. It's just like Plymouth Rock. We're trying to stay warm, that's all. Because we just got here. And whenever you've just gotten to America, it's very chilly. Do you guys remember? You were us once. We are you now. So make your protest t-shirts. If you live in Virginia and in Woodbridge, drive Mapleton Street and take just a picture of the skeleton that is on some guy's property, right? And start a conversation with your friends. That the measles is back. And it's not the one that kills only babies. It's gonna kill all of us. This measles, it kills all of us. It's the measles of fear and hatred. Don't let it into your heart, my friends. Don't let it into your heart, you know? And remind them, man. Remind them why we came. Remind them why I came, right? That we might be like you. Because the thing that you are, right? It's not just this life that you're living. It's the spirit that brought you here, right? Whenever you got here, you represent this drive in man to seek new ways of being. I know, man, you know, because we're all human, and some of you also have always been criminals. Some of us who come will be criminals, because those criminals are also seeking new ways of criminality. And America affords a fair opportunity. Again, we're the same as you. We're the same as you. We're the same as you.